Thank you. So thank you for the introduction. So my name is Merckx. I work in the Amsterdam office, and I'm doing everything related to mobile. And I got a big scoop. I mean, it is super boring mobile. I mean, every year is a year of mobile. I don't think you have seen any presentation today without any mentioning of mobile. So I have good news as well. I'm not only going to speak about mobile, but also about desktop. More to that later. But I hope that 2015 will be the year of mobile for you and your expert ambitions. And if you look at the devices that are being sold at the moment, I mean, it's a mobile world. If you look at the internet-connected devices, you see that smartphones are by far the biggest chunk, and they're expanding still a large piece. And tablets are a bit evening out. So if you're talking about mobile in this presentation, we're talking about smartphones, and that's the device that we expect to be growing much more, while tablet will be flat and desktop will be even decreasing in lots of the markets. Now, mobile is really a way for consumers. I think you can see that in your own behavior, but also your consumers, your clients. Mobile is really a way of life. They're very connected. So anyone here knows the term nomophobia? Yeah?
Fear without your smartphone.
Yeah, indeed, indeed. So it's the fear of not having your smartphone, the fear of not having some reach or not having a full battery. I think it was the last disaster in New York where you had these food stalls for people to eat, the drink stalls, and you also had the big table with all these chargers for your mobile phone because it's vital. So who here already returned home because they forgot their smartphone? Who here does it when they go to the toilet? And can I ask everyone to take out their smartphone for a second? I'm assuming everyone has one. It's a stupid question to ask. Anyone here that doesn't have a smartphone? Seriously? Okay, there's one. There's always one when you ask. There's always one. So everyone has their smartphone. Can you please unlock it? Can you please unlock your smartphone? And if you unlock your smartphone, can you please give it to your left neighbor? That doesn't feel right, huh? Take it back, take it back. So it is a very personal device, and we've got tons of data proving it. If you look at buying power in most of the countries, if you look at the people that actually buy your products, they all have a smartphone, and it's all connected. So you have tons of data about it. If you look at how people use their smartphone, people search a lot. In almost all markets, you see a huge increase in mobile searches on almost all categories. In most of those markets, it's also cannibalization. So the desktop query is going down, tablet flattening out. So the total query market is not really growing, but people are just shifting to their smartphone when they search for something. And I think those are the most important insights when you think about smartphones and how you can drive your business, how it can help you to drive exports. I've got also a lot of links there, how it affects multi-channel, how it affects offline sales, consumer barometer, where you can really see by country how people are actually doing the purchase funnel across devices. So tons of data. I don't want to bore you today with more data, so all the links are there when we share the presentation. What I want to do today is split out the agenda in two, because what I think is that mobile, for the moment, everyone says we have an issue with mobile. Mobile is not delivering everything we can. I think those are the basics. The mobile as if it was 10 years ago, as if mobile is just the same as desktop, but just a smaller device. And the second part is like, how can you really use mobile to drive your export? What are the metrics you should look at? What are the things that you can really help you drive your business? And the first basics is, okay, it's like 10 years ago when e-commerce started. Do I need a mobile site or do I need an app? What should be first when I'm exporting? I think the smart app developers, they all went with the left graph. And they all said, yeah, mobile, that's apps. 80% of time spent is in apps. If you want to do mobile, if you want to drive business, if you want to export with mobile, you should have an app. But be very careful about it. If you have the App Store or the Play Store, they have 1.5 million apps. How many apps do you have on your phone? And how many apps do you actually use? And how many of those apps are actually commercial apps? So be very careful, because we see that most of the commercial tasks, most of the things you're interested in when you're exporting, they're done on a mobile site. So I'm not saying apps are bad. I'm not saying apps cannot contribute to your growth, but be very careful what to use first in your export strategy. In most of the cases, in most of the industries, a mobile site will be the first platform you want to push on the mobile device to your consumers. If you use an app, be very smart about it. Think about the apps on your phone and really challenge yourself when you invest in an app. Do people want to download this? Are people going to use this? And is this going to accelerate my business? And we'll also talk about it a bit later in the presentation. So be careful. When you talk about mobile, you don't just talk about apps. mostly you talk about mobile sites where most of the action is going. Now, the typical presentation at mobile is get your mobile site in order. And I wonder, is there anyone here that is quite content with their mobile site? Who is happy with their mobile site? There are some. I never meet those people. It's always the same issue. Yeah, mobile, it doesn't work for us. The mobile site doesn't work for us. And it's true, it's difficult to have a good mobile site. So also added some links here. We've got 7 topics, things like navigation. We've got UX questions where you can look at. And mostly, we've got for every of these topics, we've got examples of sites doing it very, very well. So I've got both links there. If you really want to see what can I improve to my site, go and have a look on those links. And to get a bit of a prioritization in place, what you can do is you just look in a country to your mobile site, you check the homepage and you check your payments, and you look where the big drop-offs are. And then you know those are the points I want to improve on. And then use those examples to be inspired, use those questions to say, okay, those are the things I want to improve. And it works very, very well. This is Turkey ING, and they improved their mobile site, made it responsive. They really looked at the conversion funnel. They dropped CPAs on AdWords with 50%, and 30% of the applications are on mobile. So it really works. So make sure if you have a lot of mobile, if you have a mobile strategy, that your mobile site works and that people can convert on it. And keep on iterating. Because I see that happening a lot as well. Yeah, we launch a new mobile site for that country, and then everything stops. And then 3 months later, it's like, we're not too happy about the site. So mobile, the basics of mobile conversions, make sure you launch, iterate, because that will be one of the big value drivers in your expert strategy. Now, what I think is a real issue with mobile is that people treat mobile as a one device and one consumer. So my next part will be around desktop, because I don't think there are many people that only use a smartphone. So who here only uses a smartphone? And still many advertisers treat, when they look at metrics, their consumers as if they're only on smartphones. So the issue is not always mobile UX, it's not always your mobile conversion path or the payments are not going well. Sometimes it's just because you have the wrong lens on mobile, and maybe mobile is working very, very well for you. But you just need to look at it from a different angle. And that will be the first part. And the second part is, when you have an app, how can I accelerate? How can I really launch it? How can I push on the market my app first and create value there for export? And this is the most inconvenient truth on mobile. So we've raised, as Google, in AdWords, in Google Analytics, we've raised everyone on a one-device world. Our metrics are one device. Our tracking is cookie-based one device. But there is a very big inconvenient truth, and that mobile is a gateway device. It's not always a device where the action ends. People start an action on mobile and they enter a store. They start an action on mobile and they call, or they continue on the next device. And a good example I find is it's morning and you're at the breakfast table with your family. And your partner says the washing machine's still broken, and you're like, okay, fine. You do a search on your smartphone because you have it lying around. You find the washing machine you want to buy, good deal, great. But what is the chance you're actually going to buy it at that moment? You have like your orange juice, or in the Netherlands they always have a glass of milk. So what's the chance you're really going to end that purchase at that moment? So at 7 o'clock in the evening, you get home, you open your laptop, and you buy. So that's really typical behavior. Smartphone is not like the desktop 10 years ago, when you had your one little study room with a huge screen and a huge desktop, and your total purchase journey was on one device, and it was super easy, and all the cookies worked, and was brilliant for digital marketeers. But that's simply not true anymore. There's a very inconvenient truth, and that smartphone is just a part of the path, and it's not always the ending device in terms of sales and the action you want to drive. Now, the stats, they're everywhere. If you look in Consumer Barometer, if you look in any of these reports that I got the links for previously in the slides, you'll see massive numbers. Everyone is using multiple devices. Look at your own behavior. Everyone is using several devices before they buy something or for a certain action. But there is a big issue. Everyone is used to those metrics. Everyone likes the security that it gives. Like in AdWords, yeah, I know my conversions and my CPA, so it's a lot of safety, and I'm used to doing things this way. And that's because that was 10 years ago the way people bought online. So there is a big issue. Cookies are broken. We cannot track people across devices. And maybe it's a good thing that we cannot track everyone all the time in stores and across devices. But that's a very big challenge. That's a very big challenge for you as a marketeer to see what's actually the value across those devices. So cookies are broken. And for this, we created a report called AdMob, and it pulls data from your Google Analytics account, and it tries to look at certain insights to tell you, is there a big cross-device thing going on your website? And this report, you can afterwards request it to your account managers when you have Google Analytics, and you can share the access for a couple of days. They can pull that report for you. And I'm going to present you the results we saw in almost all big accounts in almost all countries in Europe. So the first slide is, and the first graph you'll see in that report is super easy. It's like what everyone probably sees in their account as well, is that the traffic split on their website is really changing. So tablet, big chunk, not growing that much anymore. Smartphone, very big chunk, still growing massively, and desktop in decline. So I think that's something very recognizable when you look at the device split on your website. So this is visits or sessions. Now, the second thing you see, if you look at conversions, if you look at the sales you're doing per device, is that, in fact, the desktop is a bit sticky. So you still have a lot of conversions coming from desktop. And the smartphone, the orange line, is not following. And this is when I get on my plate, Steven, mobile is not working for us. Desktop is our business. Desktop is the future. I'm like, no, that's a very wrong way to look at it. And why is that? So first thing we see is desktop conversion rate is going up. So everyone's like, I was in a meeting with the CRO specialist and I was super proud because he raised in 1 year desktop conversion rate by 20, 30%, like absurd numbers. And he said, like, I'm doing a very good job on desktop. And the conversion rate is going up. And mostly it's not because they have more conversions on desktop, absolute. It's just that they have less sessions versus the amount of conversions. So remember, the sessions dropping a lot, but conversions being sticky, so desktop conversion rate is going up. But if you dive a bit deeper in desktop converters, there are 2 or 3 main insights you can see, and you'll get them in the report as well. And the first one is that people are spending less time and are looking at less pages when they're converting desktop. And those are big numbers. I lately saw the report for an online retailer in Netherlands, and they had a drop of 50% of time spent before people converted on desktop. So have a look at those numbers. My desktop converters, how much time do they spend on the website, and how much pages are they looking at before they convert? And you'll see in most of the accounts a huge drop in these metrics. And then the last one is, if you look at the amount of new users buying on your desktop site, is also growing. And new user, that means in Google Analytics, because we're cookie-based, we're saying, this is a new user because they visit the first time on that device, the website. And you see that number also increasing. So not only are people converting more on desktop, so desktop conversion rate going up, those people that convert spend less time on the website, they see less pages, and more are new users according to Google Analytics. And that's actually the point we're trying to make. Those people that went to the website 3 times on desktop and then bought something, now they often visit 1 time on a smartphone. That's no big deal. It's no big deal at all. It's just that all our metrics are not used to this, and all the safety we used to have in digital marketing, it just falls apart because we cannot track that exactly. We don't have all those cookies linked to all these devices. That's a fundamental insight. If you think about mobile, you're caring about your desktop business, because mobile is often the first point on the website. And it's not something upper funnel like branding or like very upper funnel display. It's just that people, remember, are just now searching more on the mobile, and it's cannibalizing on those desktop searches. So those people that did an upper funnel search the same day on a desktop now often do that on a smartphone. So it's no big deal. You just need to look with the right lens at the data. And it also gives us a couple of harsh things that go out of this. So first of all, the conversion rates. Your conversion rate on mobile and your CPA on mobile and on desktop and on tablet, you should throw them away. It doesn't make any sense to look at mobile conversions and mobile visits and get a conversion rate or a CPA, because nobody is using one device. If you do this, you assume that all your consumers are desktop only, tablet only, or mobile only. So every time you see a metric which is looking at one device, sessions, so visits, and conversions, throw it away, because you assume that your client is using one device on your website. And that's a huge mistake. So ask yourself, how many of my clients in that country actually use one device to purchase my products? And I bet that it's a very small part, and it's probably significantly lowering as well. So throw away those metrics, because they will give you a false idea of being very targeted and very structural and very fact-based, because it's totally wrong. you're assuming that people use only one device, so throw them away. Now, it's super easy to tell people to throw things away. You also need to offer an alternative. And that's what we came up with as well. And the first one is the multi-device conversion rates. Now, what you do with the multi-device conversion rate, you take mobile conversions and you divide them by all your website visits. So what you're doing is you're saying, from all the time that people went on my website, through all devices possible, what percentage of them actually bought on mobile, and what percentage actually bought on desktop. And what you often see in these big accounts is that desktop conversion rate, one device, so sessions on desktop, conversion on desktop, is increasing, but the multi-device conversion rate on desktop is flat. So it means that the amount of visits totally on the website and the amount of conversions on desktop, that's rather flat. So the only thing that's happening is that a lot of the visits are moving to mobile, but a lot of the conversions are staying on desktop. And you'll get those metrics as well when you ask for the AdMob report. It's by profile, so you can have it for a specific country and see what's happening. So that's really vital. So if you're looking at, you want to have a metric, looking at desktop, tablet, and mobile apart, so not a general conversion rate metric, divide them by all the sessions. Don't divide them by the sessions on one device, because you tell yourself that your clients are one device only. So be very careful about those metrics. And if you're using mobile, look more broad than just mobile conversions. Look at your desktop business, because that's where a lot of the value will be as well. Now, in AdWords, we also have a solution for this. So AdWords was built in a one-device world. So quite frankly, I think AdWords is running behind in terms of multi-device. But we got one killer feature in it, and it's AdWords cross-device conversions. Who here heard about cross-device conversions already? A few of you. There's one thing that nobody likes about them. We call them estimated cross-device conversions. And like the hardcore digital marketeer is like, that's not true, that's not true. But let me explain to you how we calculate those. So what we do is we have a lot of traffic that's logged in through Google properties on Chrome, or they have their Gmail open, or Android on different devices. So we have a share of the internet traffic which is logged into Google. Now, what we do is the traffic on your ad groups and campaigns that is logged in, we can track whether they are converting cross-device, whether they click on one device on an ad and convert on the next device. We anonymize that data, and when we're 95% sure, we extrapolate to the full ad group. So we have like a big chunk of an ad group of the traffic tracked across devices. Then we use a 95% statistical significance to show you the estimated cross-device conversions. So 95% is like the same as a Nielsen report, so I'm pretty confident that we're very close to the accurate number. There are, of course, a couple of caveats because of this. You don't get the data for every campaign and every ad group. So if you look at cross-device conversions, you'll see many of the campaigns and ad groups with a little line. That means maybe there are cross-device conversions, but we're not showing them because we're not 95% sure to make the extrapolation. So the data was not big enough for us. So if you look at cross-device conversions, always look at those campaigns and ad groups which report them and get a sense of what the uplift is on those campaigns. And even if you have there an uplift of 50, 60%, maybe think about using that uplift on other campaigns. Like, okay, let's make an extrapolation. Let's see what that would mean for my mobile business and my mobile revenue. Now, it's also very conservative because it's last click. So what happens is when someone clicks on one device on an AdWords ad, doesn't convert, returns on the next device through a brand term, for example, and clicks on an ad, then we don't report the cross-device conversion. We only report the cross-device conversion when on the next device where the people convert, there is no AdWords click. So people that, for example, return through a brand term and a brand click on the last device where they convert, we will not report them as cross-device. We will just report them as a conversion from that last campaign. So that means that cross-device conversions never double count, and they have the same kind of attribution as your normal conversions. In AdWords, they're only counting cross-device. So to get a first glimpse in your account what mobile is doing on your desktop business, because we assume most of them go to desktop, have a look at your cross-device conversions. If you don't have them for all campaigns, maybe have a look at those that report it just to get an idea of the value you're driving. Now, we've got many examples of clients using this, and this is an international travel site, Apodo, and they saw an uplift of 30%. And quite frankly, I think that's rather low still. So I've seen many accounts in Netherlands exporting to UK, to Germany, to France, which have a very big uplift. So it means that they double almost their conversions when they would count cross-device in there as well. And remember, that's the most conservative cross-device value you can have within AdWords. So please have a look. I would all ask you, request an AdMob report to your account manager. define which profiles of the GA account should be in there, which countries, have a look at your adverse cross-device data, and get the first glimpse of multi-screen and multi-device behavior. And if you don't do that, then you just make that assumption everyone is just using one device. And that means sometimes also to take a bit of a leap of faith. So we're not saying you should be blind, and you're not saying that you shouldn't measure anything, that you should be some kind of blind marketeer, but multi-device and omni-channel forces the digital marketeer to step outside of his comfort zone or her comfort zone. So be sure that you take that leap of faith and you take as much data with you as possible using things like AdMob and cross-device conversions in AdWords. So those are my 3 conclusions for cross-device. So first of all, make sure your website enables it. What can be more frustrating than searching for a product on mobile, finding the one you want, and then when you return later in the evening on your desktop, you need to do the search again. Make sure you have save buttons, email me buttons, and if possible, get your clients to be logged in on your website. Offer them a very strong My experience so that they can seamless move across devices and buy products with you. So think about enabling that behavior. And sometimes, remember, when you talk about mobile site UX, and you look at the home page until your payment page, and you look at all the drop-offs, maybe it's not a problem of UX. Maybe it's not a problem of the payments. Maybe people just stop there because they want to continue that sale on another device. So instead of just the next button, maybe add a Save Me button there and see what kind of value it brings you. So think also about your website. Enable that multi-device behavior of your clients. It's probably huge, and you're probably not looking at it because of all the one-device legacy reporting that we have in all our tools. In terms of ads, I think it's pretty straightforward. Use mobile search, use mobile GDN, and look at the mobile conversions you get out of it, and look at the cross-device value that it drives on your desktop, thanks to cross-device conversion in AdWords. And then lastly, for the measurements, throw away those one-device metrics. Every time you see a presentation where people are assuming that their consumer is one device and that they're having CPAs on a one-device level or conversion rate, you can trust that that data is probably very, very wrong. So be very careful and really talk in your organization to stop this kind of KPIs, because they will guide you to make the wrong decisions for your marketing spend. And request the AdMob reports. I said it a lot, the word AdMob, so you'll remember it. Request the report. Everyone in Dublin from the EMEA account management team knows about this report and knows how to pull it. We've got a lot of training on it, so feel free to ask it to them and have a look at the data yourself of what kind of device, cross-device behavior you can see in your accounts. Everyone with me with the cross-device part? Yeah? Cool. So those are the 2 things already. You have mobile driving to mobile conversions, make sure UX is working. Mobile driving your desktop business, so make sure you get the first metrics, you get the first measurement in place. And then very specific on mobile is apps. Who here uses an app or has an app that they want to promote when they're exporting to a country? Some of you. Cool. I gotta be honest, I think our app offering is a mess at the moment, because you can do app promo on every of our properties. You can do them in Gmail, you can do them in YouTube, you can do them on search, you can do them in our AdMob network. So what I want to do now is just to guide you through the basics and the first steps of doing app promo in a certain country, where you can look at what should be your first steps to get volume and good cost per installs. So very practical, like I have an app, I want to use it to accelerate my business in a country, or I want to push it first when I export to a new country. And I'm just going to give you some guidelines how to do the easy first steps and where the volume and the true value lies of our offering. So this is a bit the way to go. So first of all, start with search. I mean, our search app promo is super straightforward. Make sure if people search for you that they also have the option to download the app. And the second one is AdMob. And AdMob is our network of apps. So think about it as a GDN, as a Google Display Network, but for apps. So app developers selling inventory to us in a big network, and then you can target those apps to drive downloads. And then you have the more advanced and new stuff like YouTube, mobile GDN, and GSP. I think that's really for the advanced app promoters. If you have questions about it, ask your account manager, but I will not talk about them today. First one is search app promo. If you're doing promo on app, on search, don't force your clients to download the app when they're not searching for an app. So I've seen lots of cases where on the brand term, they're forcing their clients to download the app with an app promo format. And an app promo format forces the client to download the app. So be very careful with that. So you have this format that guides people to the App Store where they can download your app, but use it only on those keywords where there's an app involved or on generic app keywords. So that would be my first advice. If you have keywords with an app in there, like for example, brand name plus app, or a generic like travel app, use the app promo format because it's easier. People look for an app, give them the app link directly. Now for all the rest, for all your normal campaigns, if you have an app, enable your app extensions. I mean, it doesn't make any sense not to do so, because what happens is every time that the device is eligible to download your app, so when the operating system is right, we will show the app extension, and they have it as an option. So it's just an extension that increases the size of your ads, increases your quality score, and gives the clients the opportunity to download your app, and you'll have very high conversion rates. Obviously, because people search for you, and they have the option to click on the app extension. I think it's more an hygiene thing. So that's search, very defensive, super easy. When people look for your app, make sure you have the app download format, and on all the other campaigns, make sure you have the extension enabled that if people want to download your app, they're able to download your app. In terms of tracking, Android download tracking, that works seamlessly, so you don't need any of any special things. And for iOS, we don't do search tracking. So you don't have downloads, you only see the clicks on your extension for iOS, and that's not super handy, but you have your Android benchmark, firstly, and secondly, it's simply because the way how iOS tracks and how you browse on Safari. I don't think that's really of an issue because of the great value you'll probably see through the Android download tracking. But know that for iOS, we don't track downloads on search. We only track the clicks on the ads, and you can only see for Android the amount of people that actually downloaded the app. But you'll see on Android that conversion rates are super, super high on search. The second part, the last part, is display, and it's AdMob network. So we have 200K apps in the network. I think we have around 1 billion devices we reach every 30 days. And actually, it's so big. You have so many apps. You have so many ad formats, is that we said we cannot do it manually. So what we built is we built the conversion optimizer, our real-time bidder, and we built it this way that you can turn it on from day one. So that means you open up your campaign, you create an ad group with all the formats in there, you say run of network, you put in your cost per install, your target cost per install from day one, and then the algorithm just starts working. In a couple of weeks, you'll get your volume at the cost per install when the algorithm is fully up to speed. So it's a very easy setup. So you have one campaign for iOS, one campaign for Android, one ad group, put in all the ad formats, that's display, that's video, interstitial, that's text, put on your cost per install, and turn it on. So that's a very easy way of doing AdMob. You'll have a lot of reach and good cost per install. So it's really our, let's say, more, I'm not going to say aggressive, that's really when you reach out and you want to push an app in the market, then AdMob is the way to go. For iOS, the only thing you need for tracking is a little line of code in the app itself, because the moment when people open the app, it will ping the Google server, this device has downloaded the app, and this way we can track in AdWords that app has been downloaded. So all download tracking works for Android without any code, and for iOS, it's a little line of code you need to implement in your app. So it's pretty straightforward, and you'll get all the download data within AdWords from the beginning. So that's really app promotion. Was that new for many people? Because the products, I've not seen so many products at Google with so many engineering power and so many new things being launched. So you need to be up to speed. Lots of things are happening. So I'm wondering, is anyone using this already? Some? Cool. So if you have an app, think about search as your defensive one. Make sure you be there when people search for you. And think about AdMob when you really want to push your app forward on certain markets. As a great example from an Arabic classified app, they had 650,000 downloads at cost per installs around $1.80 in Kuwait and in all the Middle East. So really great success story. And it is exactly the way that I just explained. They used AdMob. They made one campaign for Android, one ad group, put on the conversion optimizer and the cost per install, and then the algorithm started working for them. So it really works. You get great scale at Google. So I would all urge you to try it and test it out yourself. So these are a bit the 3 key takeaways. Search, as I said, display, and then implement the SDK for iOS to get your download tracking in order. So that's it, my conclusion. Mobile, I don't think it's boring. I think mobile is boring when you only look at mobile as mobile conversions. And it's simply not the case. People are not mobile only. Maybe there are in some Asia markets, but in most markets, people use multiple devices. So if you look at mobile, think about mobile, how you can drive your bottom line. And that can be on your desktop sales, that can be through an app, And there are two topics that we didn't have time even to discuss. It can drive calls to your call center, and it can drive your in-store traffic. So think about mobile as the key digital touch point that everyone uses. It's a highly personal device. Everyone uses from the morning till the evening, and it will drive value in many, many ways. Just be aware of the inconvenient truth that it's not always on the mobile site that that value will be shown. And challenge yourself to say, I'm not doing marketing as 10 years ago, and those some metrics that I'm used to, I should throw them away. I should look at metrics that really are from today, from 2015. So let 2015 really be the year of mobile, really use it for exports, and drive your business on all sorts of ways thanks to the powerful platform. Thank you.
Thank you, Steven.